Imagine this terrifying scenario. You're on patrol duty, scanning the ocean for smugglers and fishing boats, sipping your morning coffee, when suddenly your sonar screen explodes from calm blue to blood red in half a second. Your coffee hits the floor, your hands freeze over the controls, and through the bridge windows you see something that absolutely should not be there. 7,800 tons of black American steel erupting from the ocean, like a nightmare clawing from the abyss just 2 miles away. And the most terrifying part? This $3 billion predator has been watching you for hours, and you never detected a single thing until it decided to reveal itself. This is exactly what happened to Venezuela's Navy on one Tuesday morning. And what unfolds next is a masterclass in psychological naval warfare that will leave you absolutely speechless. Let me paint the complete picture of what went down that morning at 6:42 a.m. off Venezuela's northern coast. The ocean doesn't lie, doesn't negotiate. And on this particular Tuesday, it told Venezuelan sailors something they desperately never wanted to hear. They'd been hunted like prey and remained completely blind to the hunter. The Venezuelan patrol vessel Guaypuro, and this isn't some toy boat. This is a serious combat-ready ship built with Italian systems, powered by engines pushing her to 24 knots. Crewed by sailors trained in Soviet-era doctrine, was conducting what should have been the most routine patrol imaginable. Cruising at 14 knots under clear Caribbean skies about 20 nautical miles off Puerto La Cruz. The crew was scanning for their usual suspects: fishing vessels violating territorial waters, drug smugglers attempting nighttime runs, maybe some illegal cargo transfers. The biggest concern on anyone's mind was whether lunch would be fish or chicken. Nothing more exciting than that. Then the ocean literally broke open right in front of them. The sonar operator's voice cracked over the intercom, not from fear but from complete disbelief. "Sir, we've got massive displacement at bearing 086, large contact, rapid ascent." Because what appeared on his screen wasn't physically possible according to everything he'd learned about submarine operations. Nothing that enormous should be able to rise that fast, without generating acoustic warnings minutes in advance, but there it was climbing, from the deep at an angle that defied every instinct trained into the crew about how ocean physics worked. The captain lunged forward, gripping the console so hard his knuckles went white, barking orders that every sailor had drilled 100 times but genuinely never thought they'd actually need. General quarters, all stations track and log, everything move now. Alarms shrieked through every compartment. Boots pounded across metal decks like thunder. Sailors sprinted to battle stations with their hearts hammering because this wasn't a drill anymore. The ship pivoted hard to starboard, engines roaring to full power, cutting an aggressive turn to maintain what naval doctrine calls a safe intercept angle. And then, through the spray and the blinding morning glare, they finally saw it with their own eyes. The sail of the submarine rose like some ancient monolith emerging from legend water, cascading off its jet-black hull in massive sheets. Sleek and impossibly silent, the kind of war machine that looks like it belongs in a science fiction blockbuster, rather than 2 miles from your bow in real life. "Distance 1.9 nautical miles, the navigator called out, his voice tight with tension you could cut with a knife. The captain exhaled slowly, forcing his trembling hands to steady themselves, giving the order that would define how history remembered this encounter. "Keep recording everything. No transmissions yet." Every single sailor on that bridge knew exactly what they were staring at through those windows. Virginia-class fast-attack submarine, nuclear-powered, with essentially unlimited endurance. Nearly acoustically invisible, armed with Tomahawk cruise missiles and Mark 48 torpedoes that can sink absolutely anything afloat. With an acoustic signature so whisper-quiet that enemy submarines have passed within 1,000 yards and never knew death was breathing down their necks. This isn't a vessel you accidentally stumble across while doing your morning patrol. This is a vessel specifically engineered to remain completely invisible until its commanding officer decides the time has come to send an unmistakable message. And this morning off Venezuela's coast, that message was crystal clear and absolutely chilling. "We've been right here the entire time watching every move you make, and you were completely blind to our presence until we chose to reveal ourselves." The psychological impact of that realization hit the Venezuelan crew like a physical blow. By 6:47, the situation had crystallized into something far more dangerous than a simple maritime encounter between two vessels. The submarine hadn't moved even an inch from its position. It just sat there, half submerged like some mechanical shark, its command sail pointing directly at the Venezuelan patrol ship, like the barrel of a loaded weapon. Aboard the Guaypero, the tension became so thick you could practically taste it in the recycled air. The bridge crew moved like they were walking through a minefield, every officer's eyes constantly flicking between tactical displays and that dark predatory shape sitting on the horizon. Range 1.6 nautical miles, the navigator reported in barely more than a whisper, as if speaking too loudly might trigger something catastrophic. Down in the Combat Information Center, the sonar operator was listening so intensely his head hurt from concentration. He adjusted gain settings, filtered out background noise, desperately searched for any microscopic sign of movement from the American boat. Absolutely nothing. No cavitation from propellers, no wash from water displacement, no engine vibration signatures. Whoever was commanding that submarine was playing this chess game at a level the Venezuelan crew couldn't possibly match. Then it happened, one clean, tight sonar pulse that could only be deliberate. Not aggressive, not threatening, but absolutely unmistakable. The submarine was formally announcing itself, reminding everyone listening on every frequency that it controlled this entire piece of ocean. The captain felt his chest tighten as he keyed his radio, forcing his voice to remain flat and professional. All stations maintain readiness. Weapons remain cold. We do not escalate under any circumstances. On deck, 50 caliber machine gunners stood by their mounts. They weren't aiming. They weren't making threats, but their presence was carefully noted by American cameras recording every detail. Both sides understood the fundamental truth of modern naval warfare. It isn't about who fires first anymore. It's about who has better video evidence when the international lawyers get involved afterward. At 6:57, the game shifted into something exponentially more dangerous. The submarine rolled just 10 degrees to port, nothing dramatic enough to make CNN headlines. But in the precise language of naval warfare, this was a complete sentence, a full paragraph, a threat delivered in 7,000 tons of steel. "Sir, she's turning toward us," the watch officer said quietly, deadly serious urgency creeping into his tone. The captain's eyes locked onto the bearing indicator. 084, now 083. The submarine was deliberately rotating, aligning its bow, painting them not with active radar, but with pure geometry. In naval combat, when any warship points its nose directly at you, it's never an accident, it's always a statement. The captain made his decision in under 2 seconds. Come to port, match her angle, 15 knots, keep separation at exactly 1 mile. The Guaypero slid laterally across the submarine's beam in a parallel course adjustment that communicated one brutally simple message. We see you clearly, we understand what you're doing, and we're not backing down from our territorial responsibilities. Inside that submarine, the U.S. commander watched through crystal-clear, high-definition optics while every single move the Venezuelan ship made was recorded in minute detail, every tactical decision logged, every response time measured down to the second. They weren't provoking an international incident. They were methodically studying, coldly learning, systematically building a comprehensive profile of exactly how Venezuela reacts under extreme pressure. The two vessels held position in a silent duel where neither side could afford to flinch even slightly. The Caribbean sun climbed higher in that blue morning sky, glinting off the submarine's wet hull like diamonds, while the ocean rolled between them, completely indifferent to the tension crackling across its surface like electricity. Then, without any ceremony or warning, the submarine tilted forward. Its nose dipped down toward the depths. Bubbles rolled off the hull like smoke from an extinguishing fire. White foam collapsed in churning spirals. The sail began sinking, swallowed by the same sea that had birthed it just minutes before. In 20 seconds, it was completely gone. The radar showed a faint ghostly trace for 3 heartbeats, then absolutely nothing. The sonar display faded to clean, empty blue. The ocean closed over that submarine as if it had never existed, erasing 7,000 tons of American power like a magic trick performed by physics itself. At 7:03, the Guaypero was alone again, but nothing felt remotely the same as it had 30 minutes earlier. "Mark down last known coordinates," the captain ordered, his voice carefully neutral to avoid showing the crew how rattled he truly felt. "Save all logs, everything we recorded." For another 10 minutes, the Venezuelan ship swept the entire area, sensors straining desperately to reacquire any contact. Nothing whatsoever. The submarine had vanished into the deep, sliding back into that terrible silence that makes Virginia-class boats the most feared hunters in every ocean. 200 feet below the surface, the American crew moved with practiced efficiency acoustic sensors, confirming no pursuit mission logs, noting Venezuelan response times and tactical decisions, every valuable byte of intelligence data encrypted and transmitted to U.S. Southern Command in Florida. So here's the question that matters most, and I genuinely want your honest answer in the comments. If you were commanding that Venezuelan patrol vessel, if you watched 7,800 tons of American steel rise from the abyss less than 2 miles away after tracking you invisibly for hours, what would you do? Would you hold your course and stand your ground, showing the world that your nation refuses to be intimidated in its own backyard? Or would you back off immediately, recognizing that some fights simply cannot be won with courage alone, no matter how brave your sailors are? It's an impossible decision with no right answer, and that's exactly the point. The submarine surfaced specifically to put Venezuela in a position where every single choice felt wrong. Hold position and risk escalation into an international incident, or turn away and show weakness that enemies will exploit. That's the absolute genius of gray zone naval operations. They don't win through brute force, they win through relentless pressure, through undeniable presence, through the crushing psychological weight of knowing you're completely outmatched. This morning off Venezuela's coast, the United States delivered a masterclass in naval intimidation without firing a single shot or breaking any international laws. $3 billion of silent power rising from the deep to remind everyone watching who truly owns the ocean when it matters. Drop your answer in the comments right now, because I read every single one and I'm genuinely curious how you handle being stared down by this kind of overwhelming naval power. If this breakdown fascinated you, smash that like button and subscribe so you never miss another real-world naval encounter. Because trust me, we're just getting started with these incredible true maritime stories.